close your eyes. What's the first thing that you think of when I say comfort food?
Fast food.
Okay, close your eyes. What's the first thing that you think of when I say comfort food?
Jumbo.
Okay, close your eyes. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say comfort food?
Apples.
Okay, close your eyes. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say comfort food?
A hamburger, even though I'm a vegetarian.
Can you close your eyes?
Yes. Do I need to get glass stuff?
Yes.
Make the full effect.
Okay, close your eyes. What is the first thing that comes to mind when I say comfort food?
My refrigerator at home.
Okay. Okay.
Comfort food?
Yes.
Peanut butter.
Baked ziti.
Okay.
My mom's beef roast.
American food.
Chocolate milk.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say comfort food?
Ice cream?
Okay. What makes a food a comfort food?
I think a food's a comfort food when it's really sweet.
Sweet?
Yeah, kind of like unhealthy, just because like, it tastes good and it'll make you feel better no matter how your day went.
Okay. What do you think makes a food a comfort food?
For me, it's probably going to be sweet and filling. Those probably would be the...
Okay. So it's mostly like desserts, you think?
Well, desserts or jellies, starches, definitely would be the group that, of course I'm a diabetic, so.
What makes a food a comfort food?
It's gotta be unhealthy and not good for you, and it's gotta be delicious.
Okay. Anything else? Any other like aspects of the food?
Well, since I'm from two different cultures, I would probably pick one as being more flavorful and more like exciting, and one being more like bland and heavy. Like the heavy part being American and the spicy part being Indian.
For me, something that makes a food a comfort food as opposed to just normal food is, I think, if I grew up with it.
Okay.
Particularly if it was like the type of food that was like sort of special, or like the type of food that was like, my mom had the day off, so like this is what she made, something like that.
Okay.
Like something that had to be slightly special, like sort of a celebration, I guess, but frequent enough that it really wasn't.
Okay. What is your favorite comfort food?
My favorite comfort food would probably be ice cream, yeah.
Ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you know why that is? Is there like a memory associated with it or anything like that?
Not really. I just always liked the taste of it, and that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, so when do you think the idea of like comfort food came about? Like, has comfort food always been a thing, or like back in the day was like just having food a comfort? Like,
I think like subconsciously it's always been a thing. Like people have always leaned to something when they're in trouble, and I guess food's been one of those things, but the term probably just came around lately, so that's when people realize that what they're doing is much more common than they think.
okay. Why do you think that people like go to food for comfort?
Probably because food's just a part of our daily lives, and it's something that's easy to lean on. And you have to eat every day, so if you're in trouble, just eat something.
Okay. What do you think your favorite comfort food is?
Now? At this age?
Right now, yeah.
Still the same thing. Still something sweet. It would be in the cake family or...
The cake family. Okay,
Yeah.
nothing like specific, like...
No. But it has to be sweet.
Okay.
Not salty sweet.
Oh, okay. Okay, so when do you think the idea of comfort food came about? Like, have people always thought of food as a comfort, or like only recently has it been like, has food, like back in the day, was food in general a comfort for people? Like, oh, we have food, which is good because...
Well, for the Irish heritage, my family, yes, food was definitely...
all food.
Yeah. And again, the sweets and teas and things like that.
Okay. What is your favorite comfort food?
Well, it's good that you asked that because I actually had that today. It's called aloo paratha. It's like bread and it has like potatoes on it. It's very spicy and it's like fried and it's like definitely not good for you, but it's like delicious.
Okay, so it's fried bread, potatoes.
and
Okay.
spiciness.
And what kind of spice?
It's like cumin, red pepper, basically everything in my mom's spice cabinet.
Oh wow. Okay. Awesome. When do you think the idea of comfort food came about? Have people always looked to food for comfort?
I think originally, if people don't have enough food, they don't have a comfort food because they need to like, gather enough food to feed themselves. But at the point where they're comfortable and they have enough food and they have like a surplus, I feel like that's when it came about because then you get to choose what you want to eat, not just have something to eat to stay alive.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Probably like, this is all really cliche, but like my grandma's cookies, I would say, if that counts as a comfort food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So would you say that you like comfort food is more of a sweet? Like it should be a sweet, or it could be any type of food?
I think it can be both. I feel like I have two like different spheres of comfort food, like sweet and savory, and they're both occupied by like very different things, but like feel equally as like points of comfort in my life.
Okay. Okay, so when do you think the idea of comfort food came about? Like, have people always looked to food for comfort? Or what, like, was there a time when just having food was a comfort? Like, there was no distinction?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it started where there was no distinction, where just having food is something to be thankful for and something to feel comfortable about and feel happy about. And then I feel like comfort food really, I guess, in my opinion, transitioned from just being normal food to something special when it started becoming traditionally based.
Okay.
So I feel like if you interview people that grew up in all different like ethnic traditions, their comfort food will probably match the things that are most closely tied to it. I mean, like at least mine are.
Most closely tied to their culture?
Yeah, like I think what makes something a comfort food is like more than just it tasting good or it being something that like makes you think of happy memories of your family, but like something that's been passed through your family and has always been a part of the tradition.
Okay, so where do you like your comfort food to be made? Does it matter?
Comfort foods for me are usually homemade. I mean, obviously I don't have homemade ice cream, but you know, if I'm eating a meal, I like my mom's cooking if I'm not feeling too well, so yeah.
Okay. What impact do you think like where it's made or who has on like the way the food tastes? Does it have an impact or?
Well, I think outside foods have distinct tastes to like homemade food, and I think when you're not feeling too well, it's always nice to have something that's familiar, like your mom or dad's cooking or whoever cooks in your house.
Do you think like it actually tastes different or it's just like a perception?
I think it actually does taste different.
You think it actually does? Where do you like comfort food to be made? Do you like to make it yourself? Do you like anyone specific to make it?
They have to be in the home for me.
In the home, okay.
The restaurants, it's a whole different experience. It doesn't fall quite in the, not that the foods aren't the same, but it's home, that the comfort.
Okay, why do you think that is?
You can dunk. You can dribble. I don't know. It's well, because I'm comfortable at home too, I suppose.
Okay. Do you think that where the food is made makes it actually taste different, or is it just like your perception? Like,
no, it's being home that makes it. It's a time and a place that makes it comfort food for me.
okay. Do you have to be alone, or do you like to be with?
No, I don't mind having company at all.
Where do you like your comfort food to be made?
Definitely at home. My mom's food is the best food.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it matter if she's making it at your house or if you're at someone else's house, or?
I think it's better if it's at like my house because it's more comfortable. It's like our utensils, our spices. Like we get our spices from like a specific store. Maybe other people don't get it there, and like.
Okay. What about who you're eating it with?
Family would be nice, but like I guess alone would be cool too. It's food.
Okay. Do you like to eat comfort food alone as like when you're sad or?
I don't think I really look into food when I'm sad, but I'm sure it makes me feel better.
Right, okay. What impact does where the food is made have on the way the food tastes?
Well, if you're at a restaurant, you like expect it to taste better, but every time I'm at like an Indian restaurant, it never tastes better than my mom's food.
Do you think that the food tastes better, like actually tastes better, or it's just in your head?
Probably both. I feel like it probably tastes better at home because it's more familiar with me, and I have an acquired taste to it. But at a restaurant, it's definitely more different. Like the utensils are different, the settings are different, and like it's a different expectation.
So you like to be more informal?
Yes.
Okay. So where do you like your comfort food to be made? Does it matter?
I mean, I feel like comfort food is comfort food regardless if I eat it in DeWick or, you know, like at my house, but I think it's like extra special if it's in that place you remember it to be. Like, my grandma's cookies would taste just as good if they were shipped to me here, but they're like extra special if I eat them at my grandma's
Okay,
house.
so do you think that where something is made or where you eat something actually changes the way it tastes, or it's just a perception?
Well, I mean, I think it's a perception, but I think the perception changes how you think about it, which I think is just equal to having it change the way it tastes.
Okay, cool. Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay, does it matter who makes it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's very similar to the where, but probably less.
can you make your own comfort food, or is it like more of a like, oh, I'm gonna sit back and my mom's gonna cook this? And
I mean, there's probably like a point of growing up is like learning to make my own comfort food and not relying on like my mother or grandma to do it for me. But definitely as of now, like my like complete moment of relaxation and like enjoying it would be like if it's made by like somebody who really loves me and like wants me to enjoy it, as opposed to me
okay,
making it myself.
do you think that that person could change, or it'll always be the same? Like, is it like a older people in your family who like have an attachment to that food, and like you said, like it's a tradition, need to make it, or could it be somebody else? Like, could it change with time?
I mean, I think it does. I think that's the thing that makes comfort food special from normal food, is that it does change. That, like, I grew up in this tradition of, like, having people who loved me make these things that they wanted me to enjoy, and then I will, like, do it to my kids. And, like, I mean, I think that's why it's special.
Okay. Do you think that there are any, like, defining factors of comfort food that transcend culture? Like, are all comfort food the same among...
I think in a lot of cultures, maybe not all, but in a lot, like I said before, they tend to be unhealthy and sweet just because people like the taste of those foods. I don't really know too many people who go towards, like, carrot sticks if they're not feeling well. You know, most people will eat, like, brownies and ice cream and sweet food. So.
Yeah. Does a comfort food have to be unhealthy, or does it have to...
I don't think so. It doesn't have to be. That's how I always thought of it, and I think most people do, but I don't think it has to be the case.
Is that the appeal of, like, the food, that it's unhealthy?
Probably, yeah. I guess, like, you don't really eat it too often. You don't want to eat unhealthy food too often unless you really need to, or, like, you're dying for it, you know?
So do you feel, like, guilty when you eat unhealthy food as a comfort food?
Yeah, I think we all do, but you kind of feel guilty about it a little later, like, after the fact. Yeah.
Okay. What about, like, time? Do you think comfort foods have changed over time?
Probably, yeah. I think they changed with whatever we've been eating, and you know, in the past, if ice cream wasn't around, for example, like people probably weren't eating that. They were eating whatever was the tastiest thing in their cuisine at that time.
Do you think there are defining factors of comfort food that like transcend cultures or heritages?
That's a hard one. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah. Okay. What about time? Has like comfort food always been the same, do you think, or?
You mean in different generations?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's been different. I mean, now it's so easy to get processed food, but when, like cookies and things like that, but it wasn't, I think it's much easier to get now.
Okay. Okay.
And store.
Right. Oh, that's true, yeah. You're right. Do you think there are any defining factors of comfort food that transcend culture?
I think every culture's comfort food, it's not healthy food. It's probably one of the worst foods that you could eat, but it still makes you, it's probably some food that brings everybody together too.
Why do you think unhealthy food is comfort food?
Because nobody feels comfortable eating healthy food. Like, you have to actually try to eat healthy food, and comfort food's just there.
It's there. Yeah, okay. What about time? Has comfort food changed over time?
Maybe, but probably not a lot. I feel like even you see in like in America, like the hamburger is the hamburger for about, I don't know, like a long time, 20s.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's changed in the Indian culture either.
Oh no.
No.
Does anyone see healthy food as comfort food? Do you think?
Maybe in like some cultures that are generally healthier than others. Like maybe in like Japanese culture, maybe like sushi is comfort food, but sushi's supposed to be healthy.
Okay. Okay. Do you think that there are like factors of comfort food that transcend culture? Or are all cultures' comfort foods very different?
I mean, I feel like the actual taste and like how it's prepared and everything like that ends up being very different, but I feel like the base of comfort food is like, I would say things that are like ingredients that are like particularly like rich or like tasteful,
Okay.
and like ingredients that probably at its base were like a sort of rare.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, so I feel like all comfort food is gonna be like buttery and starchy and like
You think so?
unhealthy.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you grew up in like a weird hippie commune.
What about like time? Do you think like each generation has different comfort foods, or even within a culture?
I mean, I feel like the idea of comfort food can be really dynamic because it's like so subjective and like so based on your personal view towards it. So this doesn't really answer your question, but I feel like it has dynamics of both being really static and having a lot of like traditional base, and then having like each person sort of like reinvent it for themselves.
Are there like specific times of your day when you look to comfort food, or like what makes you want a comfort food?
Well, it's not really during the, like, it's not specific times during the day for me because, I mean, luckily I don't need to lean on comfort food every day.
Yeah.
I guess the times that I specifically look for it are when I, you know, if, like, in college if I had a bad test or had a bad class, or, you know, in high school if I was playing a sport and I played bad or something like that. You know, if I had something bad going on, I'd usually lean on food or some other source.
Alright, okay. Okay, have your favorite comfort foods changed like as you've gotten older?
I think so, yeah. Lately they've become more like, I guess, sweet oriented, but when I was younger, I was always a big fan of like chicken nuggets and stuff, so like stuff like that, I guess. So yeah, it's changed a little.
Okay.
I guess as I got older.
Have your favorite foods like in general changed, or just like comfort foods?
I've always been a kind of picky eater.
Okay,
And,
yeah, me too.
So I don't think they have really. In terms of like in general what I eat, I tend to like the same food that I did when I was a kid.
Okay. What do you normally eat at home? Do you eat like a lot of like Indian food, or do you eat a lot of both? What do you...
I think when I was younger, I ate a lot more Indian food just because, like, that's just how I was raised. And then, sort of when I started getting older, like, towards my teens, I guess, I still ate Indian food, just not as much.
What impact does the health of the comfort food have on how much you enjoy it?
Not a bit.
Okay. When do you think you look to those types of foods? Certain times of the year, certain, like, when you feel a certain way?
Boy, that's a hard one, too. Probably certain times of the day, even. Look when my sugars are getting low, and they're never low, but I don't think it has anything to do with mood for me, anyhow. But
Okay, all right. Have your favorite comfort foods changed as you've gotten older?
well, yes, because there's much more availability of comfort foods, and again, the supermarkets have gotten, better, and, it used to be when I was little, peanut butter and jelly would cut it, but now I just have a cookie or something.
Oh, okay. Do you find that, like, your favorite foods in general have changed as you've gotten older? Or, like, yeah, just from, like, being a kid, being, like...
Well, I would say that, like, gaggingly sweet, really rich chocolates and things like that. I've gone down on those. This now such a thing is too sweet for me. Which
Yeah.
when I was younger,
Yeah, no, not
there
for
never
me.
was.
Does eating unhealthy comfort food make you feel guilty?
Unhealthy comfort food? That's like a weird phrase.
Or just unhealthy food, I guess?
Eating unhealthy food make you guilty? I don't think so. I feel like, because it's just a good aspect to it. It's like those calories don't count.
Okay, because if you're seeking it for comfort, then
It doesn't matter.
it's fine. Okay. When do you look to comfort food?
Whenever it's there. I feel like I'm not someone who's upset and then goes to food.
Okay. Do you think a lot of people are that way?
I definitely are. Like, it's something that's like nice and it's something that makes you feel better about yourself. Because I think food is a really big part of you. So.
Right. Have your favorite comfort foods changed as you've gotten older?
Definitely, because there are a lot of things I wouldn't try before, and then now I try it, and it's something, because a lot of like Indian food doesn't look very appetizing, and when you're younger, you're like, that's gross, you don't want to eat that, but then when you're older, you like face it, and then you're like, wow, that was delicious, I can't believe I was missing out.
Really?
It's like 10 years.
I'm still like that. What kind of foods do you try now that you never tried before?
Well, there's something called like home, and it like looks gross, but it's like a stew, and it has like lentils in it, and it has like either lamb in it and a bunch of spices, and it looks terrible, but it's like so good.
So it's a stew, which is like
stew.
hearty and like
doesn't look good. But
Okay, that's awesome. Is that true of your favorite foods in general, or just like comfort foods that your tastes have changed?
I don't think my taste has changed. I've always liked spicy foods. Like even with American food, I've never really liked bland food. Also, like I'm not a big fan of really sweet things, and a lot of the desserts in Indian culture are super sweet. Like mithai, it's like fried sugar, and like I've never actually liked that, so that hasn't changed.
So do you think you like American desserts better?
Yeah, I definitely like American desserts better.
Okay. What impact does the health of the comfort food have on how much you enjoy it?
I mean, for me, I would say virtually none, but the health of a lot of my food doesn't really impact how much I enjoy it.
Okay. Does a comfort food need to be unhealthy?
No, I don't think it needs to be unhealthy. I just think that a lot of the time it ends up being unhealthy because like the things that are like kind of comforting are like sort of indulgences.
Right. Okay. When do you look to comfort food? When do you crave it?
I feel like the obvious answer is like when I'm stressful, but I feel like I would always like embrace comfort food regardless if I feel like I'm drawn to it when I'm stressful, but I would be happy to have it at any point.
Anytime, just because of the taste.
Yeah, and like what it's associated with. I mean, I think like the point of comfort food is that like the taste ties you to memories that like make the food itself comforting, not necessarily that the food itself is comforting.
Okay. So can a comfort food just be a comfort food because you really like it and it's very starchy and buttery and stuff, or it needs to have some sort of personal connection?
I think it needs to have a personal connection. I think otherwise, I think that's the difference between comfort food and indulgence.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, this is the last one. Have your tastes in comfort foods changed as you've gotten older, like along with how your taste in regular food has changed, or no?
I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of when you asked the previous question about whether it's dynamic or static. Like, my taste for certain particular comfort foods, like mashed potatoes and like cookies and like my grandma's cake and stuff like that, will always be the same. But when I start making food for myself and making food I like and I find it comforting because I associate it with different memories, it'll evolve with my taste. For example, I would consider pad thai a comfort food for me because I really like it and it reminds me of great times I've had with friends. But I mean, it's not associated with the types of people that say cookies are.
Okay. What do you normally eat at home in terms of Indian food?
I mean, a typical Indian dish usually consists of rice and a bread type of thing called roti or naan. And with that, you usually have some sort of meat or vegetables with it.
and I mean that could range from chicken or like dal is like a simple type of dish that's like it's filled with I'm not really too sure what it's made of. It's really healthy and it can be like black or yellow, and then sometimes just any vegetable really you can make a dish out of it, like cauliflower. There's this thing called gobi, and little chickpeas with spices. There's this thing called chole. You eat that with rice.
Okay. So are all of these foods just like typical foods, or are they foods that you might, like your mom might make you like as a comfort food? Would she make Indian food as a comfort food?
The ones that I named were pretty typical. I guess as a comfort food, she tends to make like chicken because she knows that I like chicken. And like, you know, you can eat chicken with the bread, the roti, or you can eat it with rice. I like it better with rice, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a comfort food, I guess, just because she knows it's one of my favorite dishes.
Okay, so it's less about like the cultural aspect and more about just she knows that like you're her son and this is what you like, so like, she's
Yeah.
gonna make what you like.
Yeah, that tends to be it. I mean, in terms of the culture, she knows that, like, I mean, I don't dislike Indian food, but I think she knows that I like other cuisines more. But in terms of Indian food, like, strictly speaking, I think she knows that chicken's, like, my favorite one, so she makes the Indian-style chicken a lot.
So when you think about like eating comfort food at home, do you think about Indian food or do you think about American?
When I'm at home, I think, yeah, eating Indian food's kind of comforting. It gives me a feel of, like, I guess coziness, like not eating at DeWick or Carmichael every day.
Yeah.
So that's nice, but yeah, and then sometimes she'll make some sweets as well. Like yeah, there's this one Indian sweet called gulab jamun. It's like these little like brown round like balls. They're sweet. They're really tasty. Yeah. So she
Okay.
makes that.
Are like sweet comfort foods in Indian culture like sweeter than American?
For my, I guess, taste buds, they are. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not really used to them. They're really, really sweet. I mean, I'm used to them, but not as much as like American desserts.
Right. Yeah.
There's these like delicacies called mithai, and like we eat them a lot around like Diwali. I don't know if you're familiar with that, an Indian holiday.
Not really.
It's usually in the late fall, early winter.
Okay.
So I guess like friends will give each other mithai, like boxes. It's like little square. They're kind of like small pastries, but much softer. I don't really know how to explain them, but they're really, really sweet, and they taste good. I don't really use it as a comfort food, but I think a lot of other Indian people probably do.
Okay, yeah. So you have like a lot of American influence, so you have like both. I appreciate Indian food and American food, I guess you could say. Do you think that Indian food is better for you than American food?
I think so. I think it is because it's like a better proportion, most of the things we have here. And like a lot of handmade stuff is better for you than going out and buying things. I think Indian food generally has always been healthier than American food because we use we use whole wheat bread in almost everything. And that's not like really a thing in American food. And we usually use like a lot of vegetables and we have a lot of like natural foods that we use, and we don't use a lot of like dyes and chemicals that we might find in American food.
When you're like upset, does your mom make you Indian comfort food?
Yeah, definitely when I'm upset, my mom's like, "Oh, I'll make you a sugar paratha," which is like it's just like a bread with a ton of sugar on it. Like, definitely it's delicious and it makes me feel better. Yeah.
Okay. What about drinks? Are there like hot drinks that you drink when you're?
Well, one of the biggest thing in Indian culture is tea. It's a tea nation. You drink tea about 4 or 5 times a day, like no exaggeration. And so I guess you could add stuff to the tea to make it more like special. Like there's some certain spices that you could do, like into the chai. But otherwise, you can have there's like lassi, like mango lassi. It's like a mixture of it's kind of like a milkshake. It's a mixture of yogurt and like fruit, and you can buy it at like almost anywhere. It's actually pretty popular now.
And is that a comfort food?
That's definitely a comfort food. Like whenever we have leftover like mangoes or like anything like exotic fruit, and then we just put in like yogurt, and then it's like lassi. My mom loves it. I don't really like it.
So that sounds like pretty healthy though.
Yeah.
So
like our comfort food is mangoes and like yogurt.